Check this out, a beautiful live picture from Kauai in Hawaii. This view of paradise will turn stormy as Iselle begins to hit the islands with strong winds and heavy rain as we head on towards tomorrow night Eastern time and even tomorrow evening local time. As I mentioned, Hurricane Julio won't be too far behind that. Expected to hit and approach as we head towards the weekend. Well, people aren't taking any chances, rushing to the store to pick up water and last-minute supplies. Now, last night, stores were running out of bottled water. Hey there now, it's bottom of the hour. I'm Paul Goodlow. Hawaii Governor Neil Abercrombie signed an emergency proclamation ahead of the two hurricanes today. Now, the very latest on the watches and warnings has the Big Island, Hawaii, now under a hurricane warning, meaning we are expecting hurricane conditions to approach as we head within the next 36 hours. As you head just north and west of there, tropical storm warnings up, including Maui, and then out towards Honolulu and Oahu. We have a tropical storm watch up for you as well. So time is now to prepare. And our hurricane specialist, Carl Parker, is here now to talk about Hurricanes Iselle and Julio and also the timing on this. Again, we're kind of caught up here in the mainland, but yeah, Hawaii is 6 hours behind Eastern time zone. So what time of the day are we watching the weather conditions going downhill, Carl?
It's going to start to go downhill around the middle of the day tomorrow, continue to get worse through the afternoon and then into the evening. So that's going to be more towards the evening Eastern time, and then going into the overnight Eastern time. That's when we'll see things really going downhill. Here's a look at both systems on the satellite picture, and really remarkable to see them lined up and taking aim on Hawaii. Iselle now a 90-mile-per-hour storm, and Julio is a 75-mile-per-hour hurricane. As far as the models are concerned, there's a pretty good bit of agreement in terms of the track as to where it's going to go. It's almost certainly going to have a direct impact on at least some, if not all, of the islands. The higher skill models taking the storm right into the Big Island. These are lower skill models taking it a little farther to the north. And so here's the forecast track along with the intensities from the Central Pacific Hurricane Center, looking for potentially a hurricane, a Category 1 hurricane approaching the Big Island by late tomorrow, and then continuing to move across the island into the overnight hours, and then by Friday morning passing most likely just to the south of Oahu. But certainly some very serious impacts will be possible there as well. And we'll time out these winds here in just a moment. Now, this is what the storm looked like a couple of days ago. Monday morning Eastern time, incredibly well-formed storm, highly symmetrical, well-defined eye. It was a Category 4 with 140-mile-per-hour wind at this time. So when you've got that strong of a storm, there's a lot of momentum that is built up. So even though the storm took on a lot of dry air, was much more ragged in appearance late yesterday with that dry air infiltrating the system, it still had a lot of momentum. And in fact, the hurricane hunters found a flight level wind of 120 miles per hour as it looked like this. Now today, what's happened is the storm has managed to fend off that dry air and sort of insulate itself with that moist air near the core of the storm. And so it really bounced back, and we saw thunderstorms developing once again, and an eye developing, an eye wall developing, and that's a big part of why we think it is possible that the storm is going to be a hurricane as it approaches Hawaii. So here's a model forecast showing you the potential wind speeds going through the day tomorrow. So again, this is the middle of the day, Hawaii time, about 6 p.m. Eastern time, when things start to really go downhill. And then going into 6 p.m. Hawaii time, that is 40 to 50 mile per hour sustained wind from the Big Island and then up across Maui, and winds now coming out of the east and northeast. So the northeast facing part of the island in particular is where the winds will be strongest, and certainly they could be gusting to hurricane force, and the better potential for that is going to be as you get up higher in elevation. There's a lot of elevation in Hawaii. In fact, the Big Island getting up to nearly 14,000 feet, and so there could very easily be very strong winds in those higher elevations. By midnight, going into early Friday morning, 50 to 60 mile per hour winds sustained in Hilo on the backside of that circulation. And then watch what happens into early Friday morning as the sun is coming up in Honolulu. There you see winds sustained at 40 to 50 miles per hour. That's where most people live in Hawaii. About 1 million people live on the island of Oahu. And between Maui and the Big Island, you've got about 300,000 residents. And those strong winds continue in Oahu right through the morning on Friday. Again, potential potentially gusting up to near hurricane force. A lot of rain on the way, too. Look at this, 5 to 8 inches of rain there in Hilo. And when you think about that mountainous terrain, that elevated terrain, that's going to be enough to cause serious problems, flash flooding and mudslides. Now, what we've got here is the total amount of moisture in the atmosphere. There's the big pocket of moisture coming into the islands tomorrow with the cell. But on the heels of that, another big push, big slug of moisture comes over into the islands on Sunday. So while we're recovering from this first storm, there could be another area of very heavy rain, even if this storm is farther to the north. And in fact, that's what the models have been indicating, that it might pass just to the north of the islands. Julio, again, a 75